Welcome back to Block TV, where it's time for Chain Breakers. Today, we chat with the man who doesn't shy away from any type of intimacy, especially when it comes to women. But more on that in a minute. Love him or hate him, no one in the cryptosphere can take away John Mcafee's ability to headline it. From million-dollar predictions and promises to self-mutilate himself, to his recent bid for the U.S. presidency yet again. The antivirus software king made waves in the sphere at the beginning of the month when he defected, no pun intended, on Bitcoin, changing his tune or not in the following tweet, and I'm going to quote this to you, my dear man. There we go. Whichever Bitcoin maximalist came up with the term shitcoin for all other coins was brilliant. But we all know that the future of crypto rests with the altcoins. Bitcoin, old, clunky, no security, no smart contracts, no dApps, is the true shitcoin. Okay, we are joined now by none other than the man himself, John Mcafee, who is, by his own admission, in a self-imposed exile tour on a boat from somewhere. John, how are you?
I am fine. Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm glad to be on your show.
I'm happy to have you on the show. I love the scarf, I gotta say. But let's touch on that tweet for it. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It really is. But let's touch on that tweet for a second. Bitcoin a shitcoin? Really, dear man?
Okay. Listen, I predicted that Bitcoin would hit $1 million by the end of this year. Keep in mind who I am. I also admitted to fucking whales. And just last week, confessed to eating human brains. Please, people, I'm a jokester. Now, the Bitcoin, if you can multiply and divide and subtract, if Bitcoin hits $1 million, its market cap would be greater than the gross national product of Canada and America combined, all of the North American continent. Now, if that were not enough of an absurdity, people said, well, what is it based on? I said, well, point set topology. It is an actual mathematics discipline, and I did study it in grad school. However, point set topology can't predict anything. It is the study of geometric surfaces. Please God, people, anybody who could Google would see the absurdity. No. Bitcoin is an old, and when I made this prediction, an old, out of date technology. It was the first coin. There's no privacy, no smart contracts. How can you have a blockchain with no smart contracts and no dApps? Please God, people. It was the greatest of all jokes, and yet people took it seriously.
But John, do you agree with me that sometimes, how do we know? I saw your cannibalism video. How do we know when you're joking or not?
Well, use your common sense. I mean, fucking a whale? Do you realize that, and I said a humpback whale, they weigh 70,000 pounds. They're 50 feet long. Their vaginas are 40 feet underwater, and they never rest. They're traveling at 6 knots. A human can only swim at 3. Please, if that's not a joke, well, then I feel sorry for people. As to cannibalizing people, really, good God. Number one, if I had been cannibalizing people for the past 30 years, it might be unlikely to confess to it. Plus the absurdity of the confession, admitting to eating them while they're still alive. Please God, people.
Okay.
Use your common sense.
Okay, then let's use some common sense, John. I want to cue you in that because, after all, you are on a boat. You're somewhere that we don't know where. But you've missed some news today, maybe that you've missed. But I'd love your input on that. Binance, today announced their off-the-shelf crypto exchange. CZ, of course, made amazing strides this year. One can argue, but now also a Binance Cloud. Good or bad for the sphere? What do you think?
Well, first of all, I'm actually not on a boat. Janice and I got arrested in July of 2019 in the Dominican Republic, and all of my staff, after being chased from the Bahamas, thrown out of Cuba. It's 4 days at sea, and we were arrested before we came into port. Both the Bahamas, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic were asked by the U.S. to return us to the States. after 4 days in jail. And by the way, for those of you looking for a jail experience, I cannot recommend the Dominican Republic. It is sort of way
Bad
at the
jail, huh?
bottom.
Okay.
It's not a good jail. 4 days there was more than enough. So no, we're not on a boat. We had to leave our boat there in the Dominican Republic, part of our deal.
How did you get out of jail? I'm sorry to ask because
hiding.
how did you get out of the
Yes.
Dominican? How did you get out of jail?
Oh, listen, I've been in jail in 11 different countries. I know how to get out of jail. All you need is a lawyer, and a good one. Even in third world countries like the Dominican Republic, I just got a couple of good lawyers. And they insisted Janice and I had to be deported to the States. I said, well, I'll tell you what, my lawyers just got a brief to the Supreme Court saying that you can't do that until I have my day in court. And since they had arrested us illegally and everything else, we went from a jail with no glass in the windows, just rusted iron bars, 120-degree heat, 99% humidity, mosquitoes so thick you could have grabbed them and survived on them just by eating them. Went from that to the VIP lounge in the international airport in Santo Domingo, where we were treated like gods and then sent to England, where I wanted to go. From England, we went underground. But back to your question.
No, wait. First of all, I got to say, you got amazing, amazing lawyers. Back to my question. Go for that. Yes. Sure.
Yes. And your question, first of all centralized exchanges will disappear. You need to understand this. Cryptocurrency represents well, not all, certainly not Bitcoin, not Ethereum, but cryptocurrencies like Monero, privacy coins represent the greatest threat to governance that's ever raised its head. And when governments get their act together, like China 2 years ago, clamped down and shut down every exchange in China. How hard was that? A piece of cake. All you need is an address. So centralized exchanges can't continue to function in the world that's coming along. They have to be decentralized. Decentralized, distributed, and impossible to shut down. So what Binance does, I could care less. In 2 years, there will not be a Binance. There will not be any centralized exchanges. They will
I don't
be
know
shut
if
down.
CZ would agree with that. You think that in 2 years there will be no
That's
Binance?
okay. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. Please, share yours.
No, okay. I got so much to share. But let's talk elections, okay? It's February 2020, by the way.
Sorry?
I said it's February 2020. I'm an American citizen. I will be voting, or maybe in November. And the U.S. is deep in election year mode with all that it entails in the Trump age. You're running again, okay, from wherever you're at. I want us to take a look at how you plan to run the campaign, because I'm an avid follower of your Twitter feed. Let's take a look at you explaining how your campaign will work.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're probably wondering how I'm going to manage my presidential campaign from a boat. I have with me on this little speaker my campaign manager, Rob Logia in New York. We're going to explain it. First of all, we have thousands of volunteers. Rob and one of our other volunteers are creating masks of my face, which are going to be given to thousands of people in two different groups. First are road warriors, who once a month are going to appear in parks, street corners, restaurants, all around America, while I speak through loudspeakers through them. After I've spoken for 15 minutes, I will connect up with someone in LA, answer a question, then someone in New York, and so on. That's group one. Group two are the people who will be going to conferences, doing keynotes and debates.
Okay, first of all, how many volunteers are already on your campaign? Let's start with that.
Actually, it depends on how you want to count them. I mean, if you count the number of people who've asked for a mask, thousands. If you count the people who are managing each of our state committees, we've got at least 300 who are full-time workers. But let's all get real. First of all, I can't be president, people. I'm John McAfee. Google me.
No, I know, but John, you and I are speaking in in an age where a reality television star is the president of the United States. One can argue that anybody can be the president of the United States. So come on, right? Now let's say this entire campaign works. Describe McAfee's America to me a day after your inauguration.
Well, Trump at least wears a suit and red and blue ties. I mean, I have a suit, and I wear it
scarf.
only.
Okay.
Pardon?
And a fabulous scarf.
So yesterday, I spoke remotely at Anarculpo, and what is it? Anarculpo. Anyway, the worldwide anarchist convention in Acapulco. Remotely, I got a standing ovation. I was on for half an hour. I was on using this little device here. It's basically a computer screen. I have a reasonably good microphone and a set of earphones. That's all I need. So I can talk to anybody. And we are now lining up for being in the libertarian debates. So running, that's a piece of cake. But please, people, I've been jailed over 20 times in my life. I can't be the president. It's not possible. And Donald Trump, at least, has a clean track record in terms of criminal activities.
Okay. No, but
he doesn't.
That some will argue that that's arguable as well. But okay, then why are you running, John? If you cannot be president, why are you running?
I can do what I'm doing right now, which is talk to the world about what I think is the problem in America. Number one, we have a system of government that's out of control. The presidents have no power, which is why I wouldn't want to be one. Listen, presidents don't make decisions in vacuums. They need information, data, and facts. Where do they get that from? The CIA. Now, the CIA runs America. If you doubt this, let's look at recent history. The second Gulf War under Bush, it was necessary for the CIA to neutralize Iraq. Why? Because their Middle Eastern office, the manager of that part of the world, because it's not just America they run, it's everybody, said, no, they're too powerful. Bring them down. So they got together and said, well, how do we do it? Someone said, well, let's bomb them. Well, how does the CIA bomb people? Well, Fred, you and Jim, you know the president, go into his office and tell them Iraq has nuclear weapons. And so these guys go in, Mr. President, I regret to tell you that, please sit down, sir. This is of horrible importance, but Iraq has nuclear weapons and the ability to deliver them with their missiles as far away as London. And, sir, we believe,
John,
that London may be imminently attacked.
John, first of all, I couldn't agree with you more. You're speaking to somebody who actually covered the Iraq War in Baghdad on the ground. It was all a freaking lie. You know what? Wars tend to be lies. No, okay, but wars tend to be lies of administrations. We know that. That said, the mainstream, just as they have not onboarded themselves onto the idea of freedom of money, have also not onboarded themselves onto the idea of freedom from administrations. Why do you think you can sell them on it?
Why do you think I can? Well, I can't do anything. All I want to do is wake the people up. Do you understand that the reason the CIA has power and the reason we're in the fix we're in is because we, as people, believe the crap that they tell us? Do you understand that when everybody sees the truth, everything changes? If you don't believe me, look at the French Revolution, the Russian Revolution, every single revolution. What happened? All the people were woken up.
All the people were woken up, but there are those, I know, but there are those who will argue that nowadays, when everybody's so woke, and everybody plays on social media.
I'm sorry.
I
Okay.
hate that term. It's
Perfect.
okay. I hate
I
it.
don't know who says that, but
Yeah,
if they do, that's
many people in the United States. Nowadays you have to be woke. But let's talk about social media platforms that everybody's so woke on. And Twitter, for example, is your favorite tool. That's a given. As of late, you also had a solution. I want to take us back to the sphere to some of the scams that are rampant on the platform with a direct plea to Dorsey. To Jack Dorsey, and let's just have a quick look at that tweet at the end of it, because he purports to have, there we go. Musk takes Twitter to task over fake accounts impersonating him. I am far more impersonated than Elon Musk. I tend to agree. But if I ran Twitter's development team, this problem would be solved in 24 hours. Want to try me? At Jack, obviously Jack Dorsey. I'm assuming Jack Dorsey never responded, right?
no. Actually, I've only spoken to Jack once, and that's when someone alerted him to the fact that I might be doxing a CIA agent. That was 8 months ago.
Ooh.
He got onto my Twitter account. We were chatting, and I said, "Okay, I'm not going to do it then. If you're going to shut me down, we'll do it." And I did. But my God, all you have to do statistically is look at the number of McAfee scams where John McAfee is giving away a Bitcoin to everybody who sends him a tenth of a Bitcoin, or you name it. Now, many of these accounts have a verified check mark. Why? It is so trivial to buy a verified account from somebody who doesn't care anymore, and just change the name. If you change the name, you still keep the check mark. Do you realize how trivial it would be for programmers to go, "Hey, listen, you cannot change the name of a verified account"? How stupid is that? I mean, there's 100 other trivial things that Twitter could do to stop these things, and they just don't.
Why do you think they don't?
Jesus God, I don't know. Pardon?
Why do you think they do not? That's what I'm asking. And what did Jack Dorsey say when you offered? Yeah, go
one
ahead.
of the great mysteries of the universe. I mean, why is the speed of light constant for all observers? I've never understood that either, and yet it seems to be true. So I'm not sure. We need to ask Jack. Has he ever responded to any of these things? No. It's like when you ask him a question, he just fucking disappears. It's like he never existed.
Okay. But that said, you said at the beginning of this that you had a discussion with him, a private discussion with him, in that respect. He wanted to take you off the platform? Did I get that correctly, or correct me if I'm wrong?
No. He just basically said if he doxes person, he violated the Twitter rules, and you're going to be gone. I go, okay, then I won't. Now, listen, I know where power resides. I don't have any power on Twitter. Jack is all powerful on Twitter. Just like the CIA is all powerful on information. And information does, in fact, run the world. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
No, and information runs the world. And speaking of, social platform, we're also speaking a day before a very, and again, I just want your take on it, a very important court case people would argue when it comes to the sphere, and that's the Telegram open network case across from the SEC, irrespective of the fact that I'm sure you think the SEC has no right to do anything. But this is a court case in New York that starts tomorrow that's going to be very defining for cryptocurrencies, one can argue in general. What is your take on that?
Let me discuss the SEC generally first, and specifically in terms of my own experience with them. Now, I haven't paid taxes for 10 years. I refuse to pay ever again. Taxation is theft in America and illegal. Stop paying. I'd already paid $50 million, and I promise you, people, I have not received $50 million in services. Therefore, I stopped. Now, the IRS didn't bother me. Nobody bothered me for 8 years until I started speaking openly. And when I became the CEO of MGT, the sixth largest Bitcoin miner in the world, I started speaking out against taxes. You don't want to use taxes, use privacy, crypto coins, and distributed exchanges, and you'll never have to pay taxes again because they'll never know what you have. Now, that hit a nerve. So what happened while I was the CEO, the SEC served me and the company with a subpoena. Now, when the SEC serves a company with a subpoena, in 99% of the cases, it's because you've done something illegal or you fucked over your stockholders or something. You know what the subpoena said? Had nothing to do with the company, but they wanted information on stock purchases from a past stockholder. However, SEC regulations state you got a subpoena, you got to say, I've been subpoenaed by the SEC.
Right.
They also state you cannot say what it's about. Oh, that's a catch-22. So we had to say we've been subpoenaed. The New York Stock Exchange delisted us the following day. And our market cap went from $800 million to $3 million overnight, and we went bankrupt. Now, did that shut me up? No, it just pissed me off even worse. Finally, in October of 2018, I broke the law and I told the world in a video exactly what was in the subpoena. Now, I knew the SEC could not come after me because if they did, I would have fucking destroyed them because they would have to have revealed the subpoena themselves, which they still have not, by the way. So what happened? 2 months later, the IRS convenes a grand jury charging me and Janice with tax fraud. Well, how could I have committed tax fraud if I haven't even filed a tax form? Fraud means I've lied. I refused to file. That's not lying. In any case, that's when we went on the run, and we've been on the run since the 22nd of January, 2019. So that's my only experience with the SEC. No. I'd rather talk about what I know personally than what is reported in the mainstream media, which interests me not at all.
Rightfully so, many would argue. Speaking of, the power of what you do and everything that is about you, is Janice right next to you? Because if so, I'd love to say hello.
I'm sorry?
Is Janice there?
Yes, she's right here. You want to say hi?
Yeah, very much so.
Miss Janice.
I want to talk to Janice for a second.
Bring a chair. This young lady would like to talk to you.
Can Janice hear me?
Hang on. How are we going to do this? Here, you take one.
Exactly. First, I want to tell you guys.
We've got a strange configuration here.
I want to tell you guys, I saw your fabulous Valentine's Day video that you posted online 2 days ago.
Yes.
And I did show it to my husband and say, why do I not get treated that way? That said, well, Janice, I have a question for Janice.
One of the reasons Janice gets treated that way is that I am 35 years older than her, and I'm smart enough to know in order to keep a beautiful young wife, I had better toe the fucking
No, I'm the same way. I'm older than my husband. So I got your role. But that said, Janice, I have a question for you. How do you keep him in check?
I don't. I just kind of brace for it and relax into it. That's all. That's really all you can do is.
No, she doesn't always relax into it. I'll give you
my guys. I mean,
July when we were in prison in
oh God, yeah, that was
Republic. No, she did not relax into it. Now,
they were trying to kill us, right? That's what. Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I wasn't supposed to say that, but that's what we had $80,000 in cash on us, right? So all I'm seeing is the worst horrific sort of American, the Dateline movies where they talk about people that are in these countries.
Everything that 2020 has shown us.
That's what I'm imagining. Yes, exactly, right? But who's going to give a shit because he's John Mcafee? No one's going to care, and so then my family won't know, and I'll just be murdered somewhere. So I was like, fuck that. You guys are going to hear my voice.
Yeah, right? But let me tell you how the voice was heard.
Throughout the whole fucking prison. You better believe it.
Here's how it's heard. We're at 11:30 at night. We're in a detention center in the middle of fucking nowhere. There's a junkyard across the street. No houses, no people, nothing except some ugly armed, young, ignorant soldiers. Now, the cash is on my body. And they said, do you have any cash? I said, yes. I said, how much? I said, $80,000. They said, well, we're taking it. I said, no, you're not. Absolutely not. Why? Because life is all about attitude, people. If you learn this, you will learn the greatest of all things. So now, I said, no,
I tend to agree. Yeah.
No. So I said, you're not. I said,
yeah, as a New Yorker,
I'll
babe,
pull it out. I'll count it
attitude.
for you. I'll count it for you, but it's mine. If you take it, I want a fucking receipt. And so the soldiers are looking at each other like, who is this man? Now, they knew I'm John McAfee, but I'm pretending to be someone that you not get the money, and I will eat you alive, or I'll turn into Satan and invade your brain. I don't fucking know. But they hesitated long enough that they've got a little table. Now, this is in the middle of the road under a streetlight
Yes,
in the
I have
open.
a picture of this. We'll
You got a picture?
Post it. Yeah, we'll have
Oh,
to post
fuck me,
it.
you gotta post that thing.
No,
So we're in
once
the
you
middle
post
of
the
the
interview,
road.
you're
So
gonna
I
have to
pull
post
out
that
the
as well.
money and I start counting it.
Yes,
Right.
$100 bills, and so everyone's standing around like wolves, just ready to pounce.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, so I'm counting out there $80,000 in $100 bills. And they go to take it. Oh, don't touch it. It's mine. I took it and pulled it on my side of the table. I said, who is going to write the receipt? Finally, a captain comes out, and I said, you want the money? You give me a receipt. And so he did.
Yes, he did. He wrote out a receipt.
Meanwhile, Janice now lost it.
Can you
I keep
blame
telling
her?
all of our staff is there.
Can
We're all
you
getting
blame
arrested.
her?
Okay,
Come
let me
on.
also just interject also. They were supposed to be taking us to the airport. That is where we were supposed to be going, not to another jail.
Yes.
And they took us to another jail. They purposely lost our lawyers who were following us to the jail, and then they wouldn't let them back.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I was freaking the fuck out.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
they
and
intended
as
to
you
kill us
should.
and take the money. I knew this, but this is not my first rodeo. Please, God.
Okay, but it was mine.
But it was
So,
Janice's
I reacted
first
accordingly.
rodeo at that level. Yes, this was hers, not mine. Good God. This
I
is
know, but John and Janice, by the way, because we're slightly, I want to first of all thank you so much for the interview today. I do, Janice, expect you to keep him slightly in check, and I think you are. I think you're doing it without even noticing.
I'm trying.
Yeah, and before we wrap, John, give your wife, give the missus a nice hug and a kiss. I want to thank you guys for coming on today. I don't know where you are.
That's easy enough.
Thank you for
There you
having
go.
us.
Amen. Oh, happy Valentine's Day.
And a hug.
Guys, have
Yes,
a
happy
wonderful
Valentine's Day.
have a wonderful day. This was BLOCKTV.
Thank you.
Thank you
and
very
we're
much.
looking forward to talk to you in the future.
All right.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter